Okay. So, folks, welcome back to the Crazy Juicy Love podcast. I have my man here, Josh Tan, the intuitive life coach. Thank you so much for being here on the show.
Thank you, Jimmy, for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, tell everyone a little bit about you and what you do.
So my name is Josh Tan. I'm an intuitive life coach, meaning I love to work in the mind as well as the spirit, and that involves a lot of energy and emotional work. I have a long path of my own self-discovery, and as I was going through my life, I noticed that there was always this sense of like, there has to be more. There has to be more out there for me. And I realized I was on a path of unfulfillment. Not necessarily a path of burnout, but a path of being unfulfilled. So that continued to manifest in reality as like achievements and escapism, like always searching outside of myself for that thing that I'm looking for. And that took me down a long road of escapism, like really wild parties, like really extravagant vacations, things like that. And in this whole like fix it thing, I was realizing that I was getting more and more constrained and feeling trapped in my own life. So I started to turn towards mindfulness and psychology, more self-help, and that kind of topped out at a point. So then the mindfulness changed over to meditation and spirituality. And that was really helpful to discover different layers of myself, different layers of my spirit, different layers of my connection. And then it was through the work of coaching and getting coached and getting trained in coaching that I really connected all these aspects of myself together. And now I really feel like a whole, complete person that's free to be, free to act. And that's what I work on with people, to free them of their own trappings, whether that's in their mind, their emotions. I find a lot of stuff in people's emotions, unresolved trauma, and a lot of limiting mindsets. Wow. And as I work with people to free them, I love bringing in this spiritual aspect of your energy body and your chakra system and getting connected to source and your own inner intuition and your own power.
Yeah. Can you just briefly explain what escapism means? Because I'm sure that people can relate, but just if you can, just like, what does it mean and what kind of actions do people take in order to escape, and escape from what?
Sure. So for escapism is the act of escaping what's really present and what's the reality of things with distractions. That's how I define it. And for me, that came up as going on these like big trips and these really wild parties. Like I've been to Burning Man. So that's part of escapism. But for other people, it can be like you're escaping through binging on Netflix, or you're escaping through eating your feelings away, or you're escaping through just complaining to your friends. Whenever you're not really present to what your pain points are and how they're holding you back, that can be escapism.
Okay, thank you. And that's really helpful because I know a lot of people like that, but it's really great to articulate and define it because a lot of people don't know what it is. And intuitively, I knew what it was, but I'm glad you explain it. So, well, first of all, thank you again for being on the show. And how are you doing with all this that's happening around in the world today?
So I'd like to say that I'm doing pretty well. Number one, everyone I know and everyone I care about is healthy and happy. So I'm very grateful for that. That's number one. Definitely taking the time to appreciate that and not take that for granted. So I am going through a transition in my life, becoming an entrepreneur. So that has been my biggest struggle. All of my plans had to move from out there in the real world to on here on the computer, and having to learn how to connect with people digitally. So that's been a challenge.
Yes.
That has been a challenge, but it's been really fun and entertaining, honestly. The ups and downs are totally worth it. And something I'm dealing with a lot is feelings, my own feelings and other people's feelings.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of people stressed out around me, people really worrying. So I really just hold the space for them and helping them get through that, helping them process that.
Okay.
A really interesting realization I had that I like to share with your audience and anyone listening is I feel optimistic. I feel good. I feel positive in this moment. And at the same time, I'm really connected with the suffering that's real for people whose lives are being turned upside down or who are experiencing a lot of loss. And I had to question myself. I had to take a moment and question myself. Am I delusional? Like, am I just masking the feelings that I don't want to look into? And I had to really check. And I realized that no, I am here to stand for something, to stand and be optimistic. So if you're hearing this and you're that optimistic friend, you're that positive person, be that person for yourself and be that person for everyone else who needs it.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, man. Thank you for that. So, what do you got planned for us today?
So let's talk about presence and emotions.
Yes.
So being present is really critical, I think, for having a sense of peace, a sense of inner stillness here in the now, and being able to deal with difficult situations. And we tie in emotions because emotions are just energy in motion. And no emotions are good or bad, they're just information. And they're showing us where we need to grow or where we need to move towards.
Yeah.
So I'd like to talk about presence, being present in the moment, and the feeling, and really feeling your feelings.
And before you move on, I really love what you just said, that emotions aren't good or bad. They're just moving. They're indicators of what's happening with you and what, you can do with it at the moment, or do nothing at all. Just like learning to let it flow through you and not react to what's happening with you.
Yes. It's just information.
Yeah, it's just information.
Most of us think that there's a way to live without feeling the negative, so we just shut them off.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like letting that whole spectrum be present and experiencing it all, and then deciding what to do for yourself from there.
Right. And those negative moments, a lot of times those negative emotions are actually clues to something that you need to deal with, get rid of, or transform in your life. So it's honestly, it's like not stuffing it down is not really good, but really tapping into, okay, well, this feeling, which is giving me information, they're there to give you information so that you can make a decision around you.
Exactly.
So presence.
Would you like to share about your experience with presence?
Sure. So, we were talking earlier, and what I'm dealing with is like, in the beginning of all this, I was experiencing extreme anxiety, such that I had a panic attack, and ended up like walking to the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. And my mom was like, "Yeah, no, the nurse, you're having a panic attack. Maybe she was asking if I was having some did I have some thoughts of like hurting myself?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Well, we can send you to a psychologist, or you could just go outside and breathe." So I was like, "Oh, let me go outside and breathe." So I started, breathing more, taking more deep breaths, and like literally, like I just started to feel fine. But now, like we're both in sort of this program that really kind of like sparked something in me that I can't stop, which I'm loving. I can't stop creating. And in those moments, I feel like, is this anxiety, or this is my zone of what I am in, because I can't tell the difference between now my anxiety or this is my creative flow, and or am I masking, or my escapism, working, getting up at 5 a.m. every day and just like in the zone, like I'm just in it, and I'm loving what I'm doing, but am I masking? I just have all this energy. I'm just like, I just want to like put it somewhere. So it's like I'm having a Like, is this anxiety or is this my creative flow? This sort of like balance, off balance, or not off balance, but like making the decision, well, what is it?
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so on presence. So now I want to jump towards anxiety. Should we just go there?
Sure.
Okay. So anxiety, can you explain what happened that that made you go to the emergency room?
I was getting emails from my side company, the catering I do, a lot of cancellations. So immediately my mind was like, how am I gonna make food? How am I gonna get food? How am I gonna pay rent? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? And I was just like, oh my God, like how am I gonna like get coaching clients? How am I gonna run a business? Like all these thoughts of like, I'm not gonna be able to make money. And what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna live? How am I gonna eat? And so all of that, those thoughts of like, started rushing towards me at one time. And then like, I felt this like feeling, because I can recognize, it doesn't happen often, but I can recognize when the panic attack comes, like, it's like this like wave comes up over me. And I'm like, oof, like a wave coming in.
Oof, okay, got it. So the panic is a wave, it's a body sensation.
Yeah.
And then the missing of presence is like a fear of the unknown, a fear of the future.
Right, fear of the unknown. I wasn't being present. Because anxiety usually stems from some consistent thought about the future. So I was like in that moment of like, what is my future going to look like without this?
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Would you like to do an exercise with me?
Sure. And can you explain the exercise and what the benefits of it? So, as people, before we go into this, like what you're about to do.
Sure. So we're going to do a meditative exercise. It doesn't have to be in a deep state of meditation. It can be just self-reflection or even journaling or just really deep thought. One of my vehicles that I love to work with is meditation, or at least calming the mind. And then once you get a calm mind, using the body and the sensations of the anxiety to transmute that into that useful information.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Very simple technique. I'll guide the whole way. If you're listening to this, you can probably play it back or do it on your own.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you close your eyes, Jimmy?
Sure.
Just get comfortable and let the body sit normally in your seat. Your spine is tall and alert, and you're gentle through the shoulders and through the torso. And we can start by taking a few breaths together to arrive at the same place. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And just taking a moment to pause there. Just noticing the body, noticing your sensations. And taking a moment to recall that moment of anxiety. And it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you can welcome that experience, knowing that you're safe and you're protected. And can you vocalize what you're feeling?
I feel sort of calm, actually, even though I can see myself at my desk, like kind of almost hunched over. I feel like a little wave, like there, but not as strong as when it was happening. But like in my, like down in my belly, I feel like a sense of like calm, but like up in my heart, I feel like a little wave.
Can you see yourself in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing?
I was on my computer looking at emails.
What time of day was it?
Around between 3 and 4.
Okay. And was there music playing? Was there anyone in the house?
There was music playing in the background. I'm not sure if my roommate was home. I was in my room alone. And I was just checking and responding and deleting emails.
And can you recall the body sensations you were feeling? Were you starting to get sweaty palms, tense in the neck, tense in the shoulders?
No, I started to feel this in my stomach, like the wave. And then I remember saying, oh my God, this is not happening right now. And so I proceeded to put on my clothes. And then as I put on my clothes, I started like shaking, and like I almost felt like I couldn't catch my breath. And I felt like my heart was racing. And then I kind of like, I don't know, like I kind of like I felt like I couldn't hold my pants. Like I had a hard time gripping it, and I was like, I just started breathing a little bit, and I was able to, like, as it was happening, put on my clothes, and I just grabbed my keys and clothes and shoes and put them on, and then just walked out the house.
Okay. So now that you've like brought this feeling back into your body, do you feel it anymore? Do you feel it more intensified?
A little.
Is it still up in the heart, in the chest?
It's not as strong.
Okay.
Anymore.
Let's breathe into that spot that it's where it is. Let's take a deep breath into that spot. Breathing in. Breathing out. And that spot where it's at, do you see anything? Is there any kind of texture there, like a weight, or is it dark? Is it black? Is there like a lock and key there?
It's interesting. I have a visual of this may sound weird, but first of all, it has a weight to it, not like a brick, but there is definitely, like, it's not heavy. The image I have is I don't know what it's called, a boa constrictor, and it's like yellow and white, and it's like in a bowl, and there's like their eggs in the middle, like it's protecting. Like I don't know why that image is in my head, but I just see like that yellow and gold color, and I can see the face and the snake, and just right there.
Okay. Does that snake have a name? Say, hey, snake.
Say that again. Does it have a name?
Hey, snake, what's your name?
Hey, snake, what's your name? The first name that comes up is Jake.
Jake the snake.
Jake the snake.
It's like, hey, Jake, what are you protecting over there?
It's like protecting, almost like the word gifts came up. my gifts.
Gifts, protecting your gifts. Okay. And you want to say, thank you for protecting my gifts, Jake.
Thank you for protecting my gifts, Jake.
And thank you for giving me anxiety.
And thank you for giving me anxiety.
But how can I share my gifts at this time?
How can I share my gifts at this time?
How can I use my gifts at this time?
How can I use my gifts at this time?
Is Jake loosening up?
Actually, yeah. I could crawl somewhere else, and like these eggs are right there. Just free.
Did he give you a way to use them and share them?
Say it again.
Did he give you a way to use them and share them? Did he give you an answer?
He didn't say anything. He just crawled away and like just perched somewhere else.
Interesting.
Now I get like, yes.
Yes, and?
Yes, and I am free to have my gifts back.
Great. Let's take a deep breath. Let's give ourselves a moment of gratitude, appreciation, being thankful for ourselves, thankful for Jake. And let's return. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. What did you think about that?
Yeah, it was interesting because like I was like, where is the image of this snake with, and as you were talking and the releasing of it, I can like, before you even said it, I could see the uncurling of it. And I was like, oh, like just asking for permission, and acknowledging this entity in my mind. That's all that like really needed, just the acknowledgement to let go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting that it's for you it's a snake, and that I would be aware of the next time you have that kind of sensation, if you see it in your mind's eye, if you see Jake again in your mind's eye. Right,
because like normally I don't watch a lot of snake stuff. Sometimes I do, like on my Instagram, watch a lot of like wildlife, and sometimes snakes do come up, and like I haven't really watched that snake, but that's a very specific sort of like, I don't know if I can't remember the name, and it's not an albino snake, but I recognized what it was the minute I close my eyes. I can see it and recognize it around my heart.
Yeah. And that's it's information, right?
Right.
So next time that comes up, Jake might be there trying to give you a signal like, hey, this is in danger, or hey, you're not using your gifts to your biggest ability.
Right.
What I'm picking up is that you may already be aware, is that your security was threatened. So when your security is threatened, it activates a lot of things in the unconscious.
Right, to hold on to whatever you have whatever I can get my hands on to, you know?
Yeah. It's the four major fears in the unconscious, right? It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of self-worth, acceptance, and the fear of success, actually.
Yeah.
And then when those are triggered, they show, so it goes from unconscious to subconscious, where they show up as emotions and racing thoughts and like body sensations, and then they're hidden from our conscious. So
I think it's a successful thing, because I remember now, I remember saying, what am I going to do now? I'm like in these coaching programs trying to get me like succeed, and now this is going to like affect me. I'm like, and I started to go down this whole thing. I'm like, oh shit, you know? Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. I'm really glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Visualization. It's kind of like in other work, you know, like naming the thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that as well.
Yeah, because if you can't name it or identify it, then how can you let it go or deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also in that, the naming it, identifying it is like giving it a way to work with it, like you said. And also giving it the permission to like be, like how we said before, like not just trying to shut everything off and turn everything off right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for going on that little journey with me.
Yeah. Thank you for
once in a while.
Huh?
Make sure you feed Jake every once in a while.
Yeah, how you doing? Checking in with Jake. Thank you for giving me permission today, you know. Jake. Oh boy. Is there anything else you like to share with us?
Just to remain present as much as you can. The more present you can be to what you're experiencing, and the more present you can be to your emotions, your thoughts, that's really where awareness and bringing everything into awareness and the conscious mind is really where our power as humans is. Yeah,
awesome. Well, thank you so much for really providing this exercise with people. If people want to know more about and how they get in contact with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on my website, joshtan, joshtan.net. Also Josh Tan on Facebook, and Josh5D on Instagram.
Awesome. And before we go, I asked one question before we leave. What are you learning about yourself, life, and love in this present moment?
Myself, life, and love in this present moment in coronavirus?
Yeah.
I'm really letting go of my need to know everything and get everything right.
Yeah.
So I definitely have some programming where I like to know, like as spontaneous as I am, there's still an element of when I do linear work or like creative work, I like to know everything and get it right. And now the world is super uncertain. I'm just learning how to lean more into uncertainty. Yeah,
I hear you. Well, thank you again for being on the show, Josh. And people, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a comment. And leave a comment for Josh or Jimmy if you have any questions. Once again, thank you for what you do and provide for the world, Josh. Thank you, Jimmy. And you've been a great host. I love the platform. I love the stance you've taken in your coaching, in your branding, in your business. I have done my research even before this so I really like that. I really like the presence you bring. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, man. Have a good one. Thank you.